Still music to my ears. In the world of gaming, very few titles hit the G-spot the way Halo 3 did. This game was an absolute masterpiece, and if you had a 360 at the time this game was released and didn't have it, you were pretty much a fucking loser. The game hit over 1 million players in its first 24 hours, became the best-selling game in 2007, was on the news, and ran for fucking president. This game did it all. The game also received glowing reviews from every major game outlet, back when game reviews were done by mostly gamers and not some pussy-ass journalists. But anyway, this was the first game I ever played on 360 when I finally acquired one, and when I booted the game up and started playing, I was like, whoa. I felt like I was in the fucking TV playing this game. You remember that, right? Back in the day when you played old games and you looked at the graphics and were like, oh my fucking god, this is like real life. But back to the game. The graphics were next gen, the story was great, the story missions were very good, and when I finally got to the multiplayer, I fucking shit my pants. I never thought about it at that point in time because I was a stupid fucking kid, but looking back on my time with Halo 3, I realized I experienced perfection. Let me explain. The story mode is pretty great, but because the rest of the game experience is so fucking amazing, it doesn't get enough love. But I'm about to give it some fucking love. Mr. John Master Chief lands on Earth to snap some alien necks with his super best friend alien pal, the Arbiter. And to put it a stupidly simple way, if John Chief and his best friend don't snap these necks, the bad aliens are going to get their hands on a galaxy-ending weapon. And that's it. The campaign itself is pretty short and takes you through about 9 or 10 pretty good missions that you can play solo or co-op, preferably co-op if you're not a fucking loser and have some friends. But to me, the campaign was just overall a very good time. The levels are well designed, the soundtrack is one of the best of all time, and the moment-to-moment gameplay is great, and there's no really dull moments playing the campaign. And the worst thing I could probably say about it is in the fucking campaign, when Cortana gets in your face and tries to tell you a message, it makes your player movement unbelievably slow. Like you fucking button mash your controller praying that you hit the right button to skip what she has to say. That's how slow it is. Not so much your first playthrough through the campaign, but any playthrough after that, you're like, no bueno. And one more thing about the campaign is that skulls make their lovely return. When collected from their location in the campaign missions, these skulls served as modifiers to the gameplay. Some were goofy and harmless, like when you blow off a grunt's head, confetti comes out, and children cheer. There was also not so funny ones, like making enemies permanently invisible, but fuck those ones. But the skulls overall were just nice to have because it added some challenge and replayability to the campaign. But that's enough story for now, because regardless of how amazing the story is, the multiplayer is where it's at. I truly believe the multiplayer in this game to be actual perfection. Like, you look at the overall multiplayer experience that was offered here and you're like, what, you have a fucking stroke, it's so good. The maps, the game modes, the weapons, the vehicles, it was all just so well put together, especially when you compare it to the dog shit we get now. Multiplayer games now can only have wet dreams of being as good as Halo 3's multiplayer was. Halo 3 was just a great fucking time every time you would hop on. And this was largely because the base game had a great amount of variety and content to give the players right from the start. And I would have been fine with just the content from the base game and the multiplayer, and then some future map packs here and there. That would have been pretty cool. But Bungie fucking cracked their knuckles and said, watch this, and proceeded to blow everyone's dicks away with introducing custom games and the Forge map editor. Custom games basically allowed you to make your own game modes. Want to use rocket launchers only while running 50,000 miles an hour? You can do that. Want to be glued to a quad with some other hot Spartan while others try to fucking blast you into another galaxy with gravity hammers? Knock yourself out. The sky was the limit with custom games, and what complemented this the most was the ability to make your own custom levels or maps in Forge. Forge just let you create multiplayer maps as well as edit existing ones, which was amazing by itself, but what really put Halo 3 into that god tier level was being able to share these custom game modes and maps with anybody. The first time I realized you could download people's levels was when I saw my brother playing a custom quad obstacle course, and for some reason this fucking blew my eyeballs out of their sockets. From then on out, I became a custom game whore. I played so many of these custom game modes and maps that it's probably actually sad, but ultimately these two game modes essentially made for an endless, beautiful, and chaotic multiplayer experience that no other game has been able to recreate to the same extent that Halo 3 did. And to capture all those amazing and bullshit moments during your gameplay, Bungie threw in a theater mode to go back and watch your previously played matches, which was a big fat fucking cherry on top of this whole package. Looking back on Halo 3 17 years later, it's easy to see why it's one of the greatest games of all time. It was a game for gamers and nothing else. Unfortunately, the Halo franchise was never able to reach this type of peak again. Basically, from this point on, Halo slowly lost its reputation as one of the top FPS games on the market, so I consider myself pretty fucking lucky that I saw it at its best. I'll always shed a tear thinking about the glory days of Halo 3, and how for me personally, pretty much no other game holds a place in my heart like this one does, and I'm sure many others can say the same. But that's it for this video. As always, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.